So I want to start by just going over a very simple stress relaxation, stress release tapping protocol. Several of you have taken tapping advanced EFT work with me, and the problem or the challenge that I have when we do one of these is we have skill levels in various methods, everywhere from advanced practitioners all the way to people who have never heard of a particular technique. So this is a method that I developed for people who really they've heard about tapping or EFT, but they don't know what to say when they tap, or they can't remember all the tapping points. So this is a really simple way of releasing stress, releasing stress. So let's have a go with this. But before we do, what I'd like you to do is just close your eyes, take a breath, and check in and assess what is your current stress level. Now, there's no need to bring up a stressful event. We're going to get to that a little later, but just right now as you sit there, on a 0 to 10 scale, with 10 being maximum stress, 0 being absolutely no stress, where are you? And if you don't like numbers or no number comes to mind, just think of a traffic light. Green means you're feeling great. Yellow is some stress, equal to maybe a 5-ish on that 0 to 10 scale. And red would be stress levels of, say, 8, 9, or 10. So just keep that in mind, get a sense of it. Okay, so this is something I've named center point release for your handout. This is the handout. The one with this handsome fella on the sheet 3 times. Actually twice, same picture twice. So take your hands, just place them over your heart. Left over right, right over left, it really doesn't matter. So really feel that connection, your touch to your chest, to the area over your heart. Allow yourself to take 3 comfortable, loving in-breaths. Slowly release the breath. A second in-breath. And a third. Begin the tapping at the very crown, and this point is where all of the yang meridians come together, and we're not going to get into all of that tonight, but it's a very powerful point at the very crown, top of the head. So just tap there. And now hold and breathe. And say, all of this stress, I choose to release and let it go. And you can say that silently or out loud if you'd like, since you're on mute. Slide down to the middle of the forehead, the third eye area. And as you tap there, really feel the touch and release, like there's a little bit of electrical charge, at the fingertips, releasing. Good. Hold that point. Breathe in. And say, all of this stress, I choose to release and let it go. Good. Go underneath of the nose. Hold. Breathe, and on the exhalation, say all of this stress, I choose to release and let it go. Good. Underneath of the lip. Hold in breath, exhale all of this stress, release and let it go. And now just tap across, shoulder to shoulder, up and down the sternum. Lots of meridian points here that can be very effective in stimulating the meridian system and releasing the stress. And hands back to heart. Take an in-breath, and on the out-breath, stretch, yawn, sigh. And say peace, or say release and peace. And look around the room. Now, just a quick check-in. Compare your stress level now with what you experienced when we started. So just by a show of hands, for those who have the cameras on, if the stress level went down, raise your hands. 1, 2. Okay, Deborah, I can't see your hand. Okay, good. All right, very good. And somebody's over here. Julie? Yes? Good. Okay. All right. Now, that's a very, very simple tool you can apply anytime. Here's a little bonus piece of technique, or a bonus technique. While remember it's easy, you're coming right down the center of the body for all of these tapping points. EFT, for those of us really into it, it's great fun, very effective to tap a whole bunch of points. But if you don't tap on a regular basis, it's easy to forget where those points are. So with this, it's just right down the center, top of the head, third eye, middle of the forehead, under the nose, under the lip, and across the chest. You can also use a method of bilateral tapping, and it's called the butterfly hug. There's kind of 3 versions to the butterfly hug, but this one, you just take your right hand, put it on your left elbow, your left bicep, and take the left hand and put it on the right bicep. Start at the heart, slide over, and just alternatively tap all of this stress. I choose to release and let it all go. Back and forth. You're hugging yourself, you're giving yourself a hug, and you're activating the left and right sides of your brain. When you tap on the left side, you're activating the right side of the brain and vice versa. So there's a rhythm, a musical rhythm to this, all of this stress. I choose to release and let it all go. It's safe to let it go. Release and let it all go. Hands back to heart. Release and peace. Okay. Did we find that helpful? Again, just show of hands. Good. Okay. Good. Now, we want to move into another method that I came across several years ago. And when I first came across it, my thought was, this simply just can't work. It is I mean, it's just too simple. I'm going to say 3 sentences and my issue just goes away. Well, I put it kind of off to the side, and I rediscovered it, and I had the opportunity to go into Canada. Oh, let's see, I guess about 5 years ago. And I had the chance to spend 4 days with Dr. Willem Lammers, who is the creator of Logosynthesis. And I became an absolute believer. And I do a lot of client work with Logosynthesis. By the way, not every tool is going to be useful for everyone. So that's why it's important to have an array of different methods you can use for self-care, and if you're a client, a practitioner helping others, same situation. Learn as many tools as you can. You will find there will be 2, 3, 4 that are your go-to methods for your self-care or helping others, but it's really good to expose yourself and learn as much as you can about all of these other various tools. So with Logosynthesis, I'm not going to go over what you have on your sheet. There are 4 principles, and you can read those as well as I can, but the basics of this, the basics is whatever the correct verb is, that our stress, anxiety, issues around emotions really are frozen energy forms. And many times, indeed pretty much all of the time, they're created by introjects or by splits off of our essence. An introject is a belief that someone else has given to you and you've accepted. Now, where do introjects come from? When we grow up, they come from our parents. Things you hear growing up from your peers, from your teachers, from friends, from coworkers. They're assertions, and you absorb it, and it kind of connects into your neurology, and you act as if they're truth or they're truths. But they're not your truths. They're truths from other people. And we can get these, by the way, on newscasts, social media, and if you really want to cut your stress level, get off social media. I'm on it for business purposes, and also I'm a volunteer for an organization that is focused on helping women who have been abused. So I'm part of a Facebook group for that organization. And by the way, I did not include this in the list of resources. I'll mention it now. The organization is called FREA for short, Freedom and Recovery from Abuse. That's not quite right, but we use the term FREA so much I forget exactly. That's the acronym, and I forget the longer name sometimes. But there's an array of excellent professionally done videos on relaxation methods, on anxiety release, on helping with all kinds of emotional issues. And there's downloadable PDFs that go with each of those videos. So you'll find that website at FREA.support, and that's FREA.support, FREA.support. So going back here to Logosynthesis, what I would like to do is ask for a volunteer, and there's no need to go into any real depth What I do need is a little bit of what it is that may be bothering you. It can be something related to the election. It can be COVID. It can be something else. It can be a relationship issue. It can be a problem with someone you're having at work. It really doesn't matter, but we can all benefit by what are called borrowed benefits as we go through the process. So if there's anybody who would like to offer themselves as a case study, just sort of unmute yourself and let me know. Going. Going. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'd like you to think of an issue that is a bother to you. And it really can be anything. Now, we don't want our deepest, darkest trauma here because we obviously, this is not a therapeutic situation. So something on the 0 to 10 scale of, say, a 5, 6, maybe a 7. So something that, when you think about it, there's a definite charge to the experience. It can be a memory, it can be a belief, it can be something that is just a bother to you right now, that you can feel it when you think about it, but it's not way up there at a 9 or 10. So does everybody have something? Just sort of show me by. Yes? Okay, cool. So I'm going to read to you 3 sentences, one at a time. And at the end of each sentence, well, I'm going to break it up and I'm going to have you repeat the sentence since everybody is on mute. You can safely repeat the sentence. And in the blank space, add in your specific issue. Okay? Anybody have any questions so far? Okay, all right. I do have to make one point. On the second sentence that I'll read to you, the non-me energy, that are the introjects. Their energy that is frozen somewhere, literally there's a field, and that's a whole interesting conversation of itself we're not going to get into tonight unless anybody has some questions later. But the field, there are frozen energy forms in your field outside of the body or within the body, and it sounds strange, but nonetheless, when you actually get into the deeper work, it becomes very clear that this is how it is. So we're going to be repeating these 3 sentences, and after the completion of each sentence, I'm going to allow about 30 seconds to elapse. There's nothing you have to do in that silence other than just observe. Be the observer to the process. Just allow it to unfold as it will. And then we'll move to the second sentence, the third sentence, and then the final summation sentence to close it out. So, sentence number 1, I retrieve all of my energy bound up in, and you fill in your situation. I retrieve all of my energy bound up in, and I take it back to its rightful place within myself, and yourself is your soul. I retrieve all of my energy bound up in your situation, the image, sound, sensations, and I take it back to its rightful place in myself and let that process. Sentence number 2, I remove all non-me energy related to your situation from all of my cells, from my body, and from my personal space, and I send it back to where it truly belongs. I remove all non-me energy related to your situation from all of my cells, from my body, and from my personal space, and I send it to where it truly belongs, and will allow that to process. Our third sentence, I retrieve all of my energy bound up in all my reactions to your situation, and I take that energy back to its right place in myself. I retrieve all my energy bound up in all of my reactions to, fill in the blank, and I take it back to its rightful place in myself. And we'll let that process. I now tune all of my systems to this new awareness. I tune all of my systems to this new awareness, and we'll let that settle for a few more seconds. Okay, look around the room, reconnect with your body. If you seem to have drifted somewhere in space and time. Now, I'm going to, Patty, would you unmute? What was your experience? I don't need the details of whatever you worked on. Did you find it effective, not effective, somewhat effective? What was your experience?
Well, when I get to the blank part and I fill in the blank, the part after that didn't register the way I believe it probably is supposed to.
Okay.
Once I get to the blank and I start, my mind goes in the direction of the challenge that I currently have. I experience a rapid heartbeat and tightness in my shoulders and a clenched jaw, and my body reacted kind of quickly, and I kept trying to redirect to finish the sentence, but I found that to be a challenge.
Okay. Would you be open to a follow-up process here to move that along?
Sure.
What was the dominant physical reaction you experienced? Rapid heart rate, tightening of the shoulders, or what?
Yeah, tighten jaw and neck area.
So say this out loud. I retrieve all of my energy.
I retrieve all of my energy.
Bound up in.
Bound up in.
My tightening jaw.
My tightening jaw.
And tightening in other places.
And in other places.
And I take that energy back.
And I take that energy back.
To its rightful place.
To its rightful place.
Within myself.
Within myself.
And allow that to process. And let me know when it's done.
Okay, there's a difference.
Okay. I remove all non-me energy.
I remove all non-me energy.
Related to.
Related to.
The tightening jaw.
My tightening jaw.
And tightening in other locations of my body.
And other locations in my body.
And I remove that energy.
And I remove that energy.
From all of my cells.
From all of my cells.
From my body.
From my body.
And from my personal space.
And from my personal space.
And I send it to where it truly belongs.
And I send it to where it truly belongs.
Which is, by the way, outside of yourself. And let that process.
Okay.
Third sentence, I retrieve all of my energy.
I retrieve all of my energy.
Bound up in.
Bound up in.
All of my reactions to.
All of my reactions to.
The tightening jaw.
Tightening jaw.
And other physical sensations.
And other physical sensations.
And I send that energy.
And I send that energy.
I take that energy.
Take it back.
To its rightful place.
To its rightful place.
Within myself.
Within myself.
We let that process. Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
I tune all of my systems.
I tune all of my systems.
To this new awareness.
This new awareness.
Allow a loving in-breath and a release of any tension, shoulders, neck, jaw. And look around the room. Now, if you would, what was the starting SUDS level of your situation?
I gave it about a 6.
Okay, and where is it now?
Feels more like a 2.
Okay. So what we would do is look and identify what the trigger is for that 2 feeling. Okay. So you would just repeat the process until You get it to 0 or until you say, you know what, I'm comfortable where it is.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Steve.
Okay. Chris, what did you experience?
I just wanted to ask a question, and then I'm happy to tell you what I experienced.
Okay.
And so you just repeat the statement one time, and then you're just being the observer of the energy after that. You're not continuing to repeat it in your mind. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So I had the same physical symptoms. My stress lives in my jaw.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I worked with, but it's tied to a lot of things for me. And I felt like huge energy moving to the point that it's like, wow, I'm going to have to sit here for 15 minutes on this one statement. Maybe I didn't feel like it resolved quickly, but they're definitely powerful. And I love them conceptually. They make a lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You continue to work. What I would suggest is bring down the focus.
Okay.
Because you said, well, I have all of these things.
Yes.
But what I would suggest is ask your subconscious what is most important to work on in this moment, and then just wait for the answer. And what the subconscious turns up for you is what you would then do the work on with the sentences for.
And I found myself wanting to do this.
That's fine.
At the same
Yeah,
time.
that's fine. Going into heart space is never a bad thing. It's always good. Deborah, how did it go for you?
Mine was sort of similar to Patty. I got the tension in my shoulder area, not in the jaws. And I don't know if it was something subconscious or what have you, but it was like one shoulder got really more tense than the other.
Which shoulder?
And I was actually in the statement of saying, take it back, to the rightful place in myself. Because this is new to me, I'm not sure if I'm doing it appropriately or not, or is there a correct way?
No, you don't have to do anything. And that's hard for us, especially if, like, type A folks. It's hard not to do. It's very hard to allow.
Exactly.
So, was there any suds change from start to finish?
Yes, there was. By the time I got to the third sentence, it was easier for me to feel like I was making some progress.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay, good. So, in the interest of getting through, I'm going to pass on hitting everybody up here, but if you would like to share, please unmute yourself and let me know what your experience was.
Well, this is Sharon, and I had a very pleasant experience, and it seemed to work for me.
Good.
The issue I was working with was not high level, so I was right in the mid-range of,
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed to work for me. I really enjoyed it.
Good. Now, everybody put yourself, is there anyone else that would like to share? Going once, twice, three times. Okay.
Hey,
Go
Steve,
ahead.
this is Norma.
Yes, Norma.
Hi, everybody. I just want you to know that I'm in a program where we do something like this as a main part of the program, and I've been doing it for 3.5 years. And I can't recommend highly enough this process that Steve has taught us. Ours is a little bit different, but the difference it has made to me over time in releasing, as we say, from our backpack, all the stuff I've been carrying for 69 years that doesn't belong to me, is amazing. And also gathering back what is mine. And so what you demonstrated with Patty in going through it twice, I've also learned that that I have plenty of stuff that needs to go through a process a number of times and may come up again in another week or a month or a year, and more gently, but it is really effective. And I was so excited when you started to describe this, Steve, because I don't have the handout. I signed up late and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. So I worked on something, not a real big deal for me, but I do feel that I released quite a bit of it. So thank you very much for introducing this tonight.
You're more than welcome. Now, Norma, I thought you were in the group, in the first group that I sent links to for all of the downloads, but I will be happy to resend them. By the way, if anybody did not get the handouts, the resources, email me, please, cartermethod@gmail.com, cartermethod@gmail.com, and I will send you all of the handouts. So, any other questions before we roll on? Hearing none, I will say thank you, one and all. From my heart, I really do appreciate you spending your evening here, and thank you so much. Sharon, did you have?
No, I just want to say thanks.
Yeah, you're more than welcome. Okay, everybody, thank you. Blessings to one and all. And
Thank you, Steve.
we will get through. We will get through this. By the way, we will get through this. So. Amen. Blessings. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.